Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Christine. I love all things Disney and that is what I talk about on this channel. If you love Disney too, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and the bell icon because it notifies you as to when I upload new videos. Now today I'm going to get right into it. This is a question I get quite frequently because I have lived in Southern California before, but I still choose to vacation in Florida, and it is, do you prefer Disneyland or Disney World? Now, this is a very difficult question to answer, and if you had asked me this question 4 years ago before I moved to California, I no longer live there now, by the way. I live in Kentucky, but when I lived there, I lived in San Diego. Before I moved to California, I was definitely 100% all Disney World all the time, but I had also never visited Disneyland. So when I moved to California, I did purchase an annual pass because being me, I knew that proximity to a Disney park, I was 100% going to be there all the time, and I was there all the time. My drive was about an hour and a half to get to Disney, and I went probably 4 to 5 times a month, and I would go by myself pretty much all the time because my ex-husband, who I lived with out in California, was in the military, so he was not able to go with me. So I really got to experience a lot and do a lot of the things that Disneyland has to offer. Now, there are huge differences between Disneyland and Disney World. Obviously, the main difference is Disneyland is located in California and Anaheim, and Disney World is located in Orlando, Florida. So when you're thinking about where are we going to go on our vacation, you might want to look at the proximity you are to Florida versus California. And if you want to drive, if you want to fly, take that into account when you are considering where you want to go. Disneyland and Disney World have completely different experiences though. So that is also another thing to take into account, but I will get into that further. But like the first thing you want to consider is, all right, am I flying? Am I driving? What proximity am I to either or? The next thing that we want to talk about is Disneyland is a bit smaller. So Disneyland consists of 2 parks. Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure consists of a downtown Disney section and 3 resorts. Now, all of this is in a very tight area and it is completely walkable. You can walk from your resort to any park, to downtown, to another resort. There's walk around Anaheim. There's really no need to get additional transportation. Disney does offer a bus system from the parking lots to the parks, but it's really not necessary. I've walked it a bunch. You don't need it, but you can use it. Versus Disney World, which is literally the size of Manhattan, consists of 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, dozens of resorts, a huge shopping area in Disney Springs. There's just so much to do just on property. You're 100% going to have to use some form of transportation. Now, if you stay on property or you don't, you can still use Disney's transportation. You can drive into the parks and use their buses, or you can use Uber or minivans, or there's definitely loads of transportation in Disney World, but that's something to consider if you're thinking about mobility issues or things like that, what's going to be easier for you and your family. Now, Disneyland we're going to talk about Ambience for a minute. So Disneyland is, in my opinion, when you walk in, for me, being the Disney fan I am, I really could feel Walt's presence. I could see his vision. It is not at all the same as when you walk into Disney World. When you walk into Disney World, you come around the corner and you see this big castle and you've got Main Street, and it's what you see in the beginning of those Disney movies where you see the castle. It's like what you would expect. When you walk into Disneyland, the first time I walked in, I was a little underwhelmed actually, because I was like, oh, the castle's so little, and but you come to appreciate that. It's so much more humble in my opinion. It's a lot more low key. There's way more locals in Disneyland than there is in Disney World. Not to say that there aren't a ton of tourists, but there are way more locals. I have met so many people in Disneyland. Probably one of my most fond memories is actually meeting an animator in line waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy and California Adventure when it first opened. I waited in line with this man for 2.5 hours, and I just talked to him about the movies he created. He worked on Frozen. It was such an incredible experience. I will never forget it. I consider it to be one of the best experiences I've ever had at Disneyland, but those are the kind of interactions you can have at Disneyland that you're not going to have at Disney World because of the proximity to the actual company. And a lot of the company employees just go to Disneyland. This man went there every single weekend. So Like, this is a locals park. In terms of the quality of attractions, Disneyland and Disney World, I feel like, are at the same level of quality, just for different rides. So I think Splash Mountain in Disney World is better than Splash Mountain in Disneyland. I think Pirates in Disneyland far exceeds the quality of Pirates in Disney World. So when you're thinking about, well, what rides are better, what attractions are better, they're going to be about the same. You obviously have way more options in Disney World than you do Disneyland. But if you're wanting to have a vacation that's really chill, that's just super chill, you go on a few rides a day, you're eating, the same few restaurants, you can go downtown, you can go to the other park, you can walk, it's very relaxed, I would 100% recommend you go to Disneyland. If you want to do it all, see it all, and eat on all these different places and do things like that, if you're way more active and you don't mind the transportation, you want to try different stuff, you want water parks, Disney World is the place for you. They both have their things. And for me, Disneyland has some better rides. I also think that their food, when you're talking about quality over quantity, I think that Disneyland's food, you're never going to have a bad meal in Disneyland. Even their quick service locations are out of this world. Bengal Barbecue over in Adventureland in Disneyland is my favorite quick service restaurant on all Disney property that I've been to, Florida and California. I have not been international yet, but it is the best. It is incredible. It's so good. And I've never, ever, ever once had a bad meal at Disneyland. They have less restaurants, but their quality is consistent, it is high, and it is really good. And I never felt like I was wasting my money on food out there. Disney World has some incredible restaurants. Don't get me wrong. They have some restaurants with such high quality, and it's so, so good. And the variety of restaurants is incredible. But you also, with that, comes lower quality with some restaurants. But if you watch some other videos, I do have some on like the best places to eat in certain parks, because this is really more of a Disney World focused channel. So just seeing as that's where I go and that's pretty much where I stay. I haven't visited California since I lived in California, so I kind of go more towards Disney World, but I'm also a very hyperactive person, and I like to do a lot on my vacations, and I have a nostalgia for Disney World. So what we were talking about was food, and the quality can sometimes go down in Disney World. But again, they do have great restaurants. So it's really give and take. Another thing I really wanted to talk about was the cost. Now, you would think because Disneyland is smaller that the cost is cheaper. But actually, when you look at it, when you look at ticket prices and food and resorts and things like that, the overall price is about the same. You're not really going to spend too much more either way. And that was shocking to me at first. But then I got to know Disneyland, and I started to understand that while it's small, you never ever lack in the quality at Disneyland. Like, the quality is there. You do not feel bad about spending that money, even though you're going to a smaller place, because the quality is on point. The cast members, it's a totally different experience. Like, you're not going to have a bad experience at Disneyland. You might run into a few cranky cast members at Disney World. Like, it's just the way it is. They use a totally different program for hiring, so it makes sense. And that's just the way it is. So your costs are relatively the same. For the resorts at Disneyland, since there are only 3 resorts, they're going to run you $400 plus a night. They're very, very expensive. I never stayed in a Disney resort in California due to that cost. When I went up there a couple times to like spend a 3-day weekend or something. I just stayed at a Good Neighbor resort, and there are dozens of those. And the good thing about Good Neighbor resorts in Disneyland in the Anaheim area is they're all walkable. So you can walk from your resort to Disneyland with no issues whatsoever. And Disney World, when you stay off property, you definitely need some form of transportation to get you from the hotel to Disney property. So there's another thing to consider. Do you want to stay on property, off property? You're looking at costs. Ticket costs are about the same. Disneyland can be a little bit less expensive, but again, if you want to stay on property, the rates for the hotels go up. So, and the food prices are about the same. So you're spending about the same amount of money. Like you just are. Disney's expensive. It makes no difference whether you're in Florida or California. And then one of the other things I want to talk about is the Fast Pass system in California and Disneyland versus Disney World. So at Disney World, when you book a vacation, especially through Disney and you're not staying off property or anything, you can book your Fast Passes 60 days in advance. If you stay off property, you can book them 30 days in advance. You book them on your phone. It's free. It's part of your package deal. It's all included. You get to do that. When you go to Disneyland, you do not book your Fast Passes like in advance. You don't. You have two options. You can book them through the Fast Pass machines that actually still have the machines at the parks where you like get printed tickets and do that. Or you can pay $10 a day, which 100% I would recommend. You do not want to do this. If you're going to Disneyland, you need to spend the $10, and buy the Fast Pass program called Max Pass. This allows you to book Fast Passes on your phone, and it works great. So you can only have one Fast Pass at a time, but what it does is it allows you use the Fast Pass and then you can book another one. So what I used to do was because I had an annual pass, it included Max Pass because I had an annual pass that covered both Disneyland and Disney World. I won't get into that, but it included Max Pass and it made a huge difference. So I would go on like Splash Mountain, which actually has a Fast Pass, and I would literally like be next to the ride and there'd be a Fast Pass for 10 minutes from then. So I'd click on it. I'd go over to Pooh's Corner and I'd get a snack, and then I'd go on the ride, and then I would book another Fast Pass for it and get right back on it. So you get way more options for like multiple Fast Passes versus the 3 you get a day at Disneyland or Disney World, I'm sorry. So as you can see, I'm a little all over the place with the Disneyland versus Disney World debate. And that's because I really think they both have their merit. I think that they're two completely different experiences, and it really comes down to what's best for you and your family, and, where do you live? Like, it's really what it comes down to. Like, what kind of experience do you want to have? Now, I will give you my personal choice. My personal choice, I go to Disney World. I go to Disney World, not to say that I'll never go to Disneyland again. I totally plan on doing that in my life. But I go to Disney World because I'm a foodie and they have way more restaurants. I like the space. I like Florida. Like, I just do. I like Florida. And it's just where I want to go. Like, there's water parks. There's just more stuff to do. And I have ADD. I can't sit still. And I have to do so much. When I would go to Disneyland, I loved it because for me, it was my like local park. It was, oh, I can go up there and do all the stuff and I don't have to worry about like doing everything. And I used to just go up there and walk around, go on rides just by myself, go eat at a restaurant, just enjoy my day. Like, it was chill. It was chill. When I go on vacation to Disney World, it's a totally different experience. And for me, that's the Disney experience that I want on vacation. So that's just where I choose to go. I do have some very, very exciting news that I'm going to be announcing later this year in regards to my vacation experience and how that's going to be changing very soon. I'm very, very excited to announce it, but I can't announce it quite yet. Just can't put it out there yet. But I will very shortly. But anyway, at the end of the day, just decide what's best for you and your family. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. I'm more than happy to answer them. As always, you can reach out directly to me at Instagram with any sort of issue or question or anything in regards to your Disney vacation. I absolutely love helping people plan their Disney vacations. If someone tells me they're going to Disney, I'm like, okay, where are you going? What are you doing? I have to help. So please just message me. I am a former cast member. I know quite a bit. So anything you need, just let me know. My link is in the description box below. Leave any comments down there. Contact me on Instagram. Hoo-ya la la. All right. Thank you guys for stopping by and enjoying all my rambling. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you guys real soon.